Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Giribara Dhari Jaya Giribara Dhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Giribara Dhari Jaya Giribara Dhari. I'm okay, thank you. Yasodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Banachari Yamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya. Jai O Vishnupad Paramahansa's Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai O Vishnupad Paramahansa's Divine Grace, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Anant Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Jamna Mai Ki Jai. Shrimati Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Shri Shri Gonitai Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Goloka Nanda Ki Jai. Giri Raj Govardhan Ki Jai. Priyat Midanga Ki Jai. Samved Bhaktavinda Ki Jai. Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories, all glories. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're continuing our study of 10th Canto, chapter 67, and we're right now in this whole fight between Dvivida and Lord Balaram, and there's like verses 17 through 23 pretty much describe that. There is no purports and there's no tikas, not much tikas anyways. So I'm going to just read all of those, and the last one we will read responsively. So, yeah, because that's got the purport, so I figured we'll go to that. But I'll just read there's lots of them, so I'll just read the translation for the rest of them, and we'll read the Sanskrit of that. Is that okay? Okay. We do have extra 15 minutes, so we could read all the Sanskrit also. Mighty Dvida, this is 17. mighty Dvivida also came forward to do battle. Uprooting a sala tree with one hand, he rushed towards Balaram and struck him on the head with the tree trunk. But Lord Sangashan remained as motionless as a mountain and simply grabbed the log as it fell upon his head. He then struck Dvivida with his club named Sunanda. Struck on the skull, that's 1921. Struck on the skull by the Lord's club, Dvivida became brilliantly decorated by the outpour of blood, like a mountain beautified by red oxide. Ignoring the wound, Dvivida uprooted another tree, stripped it off leaves by brute force, and struck the Lord again. Now enraged, Lord Balaram shattered the tree into hundreds of pieces, upon which Dvivida grabbed yet another tree and furiously hit the Lord again. This tree, too, the Lord smashed into hundreds of pieces. Thus, fighting the Lord, who again and again demolished the trees, he was attacked with Dvivida kept on uprooting trees from all sides until the forest was left treeless. And now verse 23. Tato Amuchach Chila Varsham Balas Yopari Amar Sita Tat Sarvam Churnayam Asa Lilaya Musala Yudha Tato Munchachila Varsham Balasya Paris Amrisita Tat Sarvam Churnayam Asa Lilaya Musala Yudha Tato Munchachila Varsham Balayo Pari Amrishita Tat Sarvam Churyanayam Asa Lilaya Musala Yudha Tato Munchachila Varsham Balasya Yopari Amrista Tat Sarvam Chuna Yam Asa Lilaya Musa Layudha Vasham. Vasham. Mucharuda. Tato Munsha Chilarvasha. Nashavarya Vanshita. Word for word meaning? Tata, then, Amunchat, he released, Shila, of stones, Varsham, a rain, Balasya Upari, on top of Lord Balaram. Amarshita, frustrated, that, tat, that, Sarvam, all, Chunayam, asa pulverized, Lilaya, easily, Musala Ayuda, the wielder of the cloud. Translation and purport by disciples of Srila Prabhupada. The angry ape then released a rain of stones upon Lord Balaram, but the wielder of the club easily pulverized them all. Please repeat. The angry ape then released a rain of stones upon Lord Balaram, but the wielder of the club easily pulverized them all. Purport. Srila Prabhupada writes, when no more trees were available, Dvivida took help from the hills and threw large pieces of stone, like rainfall, upon the body of Balaram. Lord Balaram, in a great sporting mood, began to smash those big pieces of stone into big pebbles, into mere pebbles. Even today, there are many sports wherein people enjoy striking a ball or similar objects with a stick or bat. This sporting propensity exists originally in the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who playfully, Leelaya, pulverized the deadly boulders hurled at him by the powerful Dvivida. Om Jnantamandasya Jnananjana Shalakya Chakshuramitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sopadantikam Vancha Kalpatarubhascha Kripa Binduvayevacha Patitanam Pamnevayo Vaishnavevayo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Shivaya Krishna Sandhu Shri Bhaktivedanta Swami Name Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurani Vichani Nirvishesha Shunyati Paschata Desthai Namo Vishwavaya Krishna Bhuti Shati Gopala Saraswati Name Prabhupada Sivaji So, we'll just read a little bit from the Tikas. In the Tika for verse 18, Jiva Goswami says, Balram accepted the log and remained without moving like a mountain. He did not move at all. The tree was insignificant. Balram again and again tolerated his offenses, since he remembered that previously Dvivida had served Rama. And then Sanatana Goswami says, Balram was motionless like a mountain. This indicates that he was very heavy. He counted the tree with his hand or plow because he was a member of the Chaturvyu Sangarshan and directly the Lord Bhagavan. Thus he struck Dvivida, or Balram was qualified to grab and strike at the same time. He was full of all powers, Bhagavan, and was not different from Krishna Sankarshan. So we're seeing here just a little background, because some of you are not attending this class every day. We are in this chapter where Balram kills Dvivida. And Dvivida is a demon who we read earlier was in, he's a demon, he's a gorilla, a very demonic gorilla, and he was in the Ram Leela as a monkey. And so in the previous verse we had kind of like Lord Balram in two chapters away was in Vrindavan, and we were listening to the pastimes of the Lord. But then we took a little diversion, and now in this 67, Parikshit Maharaj was anxious to get back to Vrindavan and Balram's pastimes, asked Sukadeva Goswami to continue. And so Sukadeva Goswami continues and talks about these monkeys who come and who are attacking, who are basically being really offensive in Vrindavan. Before that they were in Dwarka, and they were just creating chaos everywhere. So this particular gorilla, Dvivida, was particularly angry because Krishna had killed Narkasur, and Narkasur was a friend of his. And because of that, he had vowed to kill Krishna. And by the same token, because Balaram is Krishna's brother, he's angry at Balaram as well, and he's just trying to create chaos. So he shows up in this place where Balaram is having his pastimes. He's with his gopis, relishing his pastimes. And this Dvivida, we learned, had these powers of strength of 10,000 elephants, very, very strong. And he was a friend of Narkasur as well. So he had developed this real pride. Friend of a powerful person, powerful himself. He thought he was invincible. He didn't realize that Krishna and Balaram are all powerful. He might be powerful, but they are all powerful. They are the Lord. But his ego was so big, and he was full of arrogance because he's like, I can do whatever I want. And he was just behaving very, very badly. In previous verses we read about he was very offensive to the gopis who were with Lord Balaram. And he was just, when he got very offensive to the gopis and were pulling on their clothes, Lord Balaram really lost it. Before this, Lord Balaram was being somewhat patient because he realized, or he recognized the fact that this gorilla was a devotee of Lord Balaram, of Lord Rama, and that he had served Lord Rama. So just by that factor, he was worshipable. But when he turned around and he has become so bad, so badly behaved, Lord Balaram started the fight. He was mad. And he hit him, and so this is the whole fight where every time the gorilla would attack, Lord Balaram would just basically pulverize everything, whether they were trees, massive trees, or whether they were massive boulders and rocks. But this demon couldn't see that it was Lord Balaram very easily able to handle Vivida's prowess and power. Because he was blinded, like I said, by his pride. And we wonder, Lord Balaram is basically being patient because of the fact that Vivida was Lord Ram was his devotee and servant. But we wonder, why is it that this gorilla who has served Lord Ram, and we're told if we serve Lord Ram or Krishna or the holy name, obviously he was always surrounded by Lord Ram's holy name. He's chanting the holy names. You know, everybody around him are talking about Ram, 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 and why is it that this was happening? That he was not able to be humble or not have the pride. And why was he so fallen? It seems like in Canto 5, chapter 5, verse 1, or is it the other way around? 5:5:1, 5:1:5, sorry. Chapter 1, verse 5. And leading up to that, Parikshit Maharaj, in 1, 2, 3, 4, Parikshit Maharaj asks Sukdev Goswami. He's talking about another pastime, which is of King Priyavrata, who is a great self-realized devotee of the Lord. And he gets into essentially the bondage of family life instead of going on to getting to the topmost position of the perfection in Krishna consciousness. And so Sukdev Goswami says in that verse, he's in response to Parikshit Maharaj's question, he says, what you have said is correct. he's talking about the fact that King Priyavrata did not continue his journey. He says that is correct, and the glories of the Supreme Lord, whose praise is eloquent, transcendental verses by such exalted personalities as Brahma, are very pleasing to great devotees and liberated persons. One who is attached to the nectarian honey of the Lord's lotus feet and whose mind is always absorbed in his glory may sometimes be checked by some impediment, but still never gives up the exalted position he has acquired. So Sukadeva Goswami is saying basically that Priyavrata, even though he goes into the material life, he does not leave Krishna consciousness. And in the purport there, Prabhupada says that according to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, there are two kinds of impediments to devotional service. Okay. The first is an offense at the lotus feet of a Vaishnava. This is called the Vaishnava Prad. And later on Prabhupada says the second one is the Lord's will. The Lord can just will that somebody would stop on that path of devotional service. Because the Lord either wants to have a leela with him, or he wants to teach a lesson by example. And in an example there that the acharyas use is the story of Bharat Maharaj, where Bharat Maharaj, who is already fully self-realized, gets involved with this deer and gets so involved with the deer that he basically blanks out and forgets his Krishna consciousness, his self-realized position. So he takes birth as a deer. And the Lord, or this deviation in that path of Bharat Maharaj was as a result of the Lord's desire, because the Lord chose to make that an example. And so that, of course the Lord can do whatever he wants, and that's what he chooses to do. But the one that he does not like at all is the Vaishnava Prat. The Lord gets very upset with the Vaishnava Prat. And Vaishnava Prat, which is an offense at the lotus feet of a Vaishnava, results in bhakti being withdrawn. Bhakti Devi is, it said Bhakti Devi, we know Bhakti Devi is a servant, is a very self-realized servant of the Lord. And she's very powerful. But when she sees the Lord upset at the Vaishnava Prat, she does not share her Shakti, her powers with the devotees. She withdraws her power, her bhakti, which is what happens, and that's what Lord Chaitanya calls the mad elephant offense. We have a Bhakti Lata, the creeper of Bhakti. And if the mad elephants go through it, it's completely destroyed. And this Vaishnava Prad, Vaishnava offense, is called the mad elephant offense and mad elephant of Prad. Prabhupada says in that same purport, he says, when a mad elephant enters a beautiful garden, it destroys everything, leaving behind a barren field. Similarly, the power of Vaishnava Prad is so great that even an advanced devotee becomes almost devoid of his spiritual assets if he commits it. Since Krishna consciousness is eternal, it cannot be destroyed altogether. But advancement may be checked for the time being. Thus, Vaishnava Prad is one kind of impediment to devotional service. So that's a devotional service impediment. And why did Dvivida get this? Because we learned in previous verses that Dvivida committed an offense to Lakshman, Lord Lakshman, in the in the Treta Yuga, in the Rama Leela. So, and that is a very huge offense. It's not just a Vaishnava, it's the Lord himself. And the Acharyas say, Prabhupada says here, like depending on the kind of offense, coming back, it's never completely lost, but coming back could take time. In some cases, it's very instant that you could just be back because the offense was so little. But sometimes it is so big, and this is a big one. It's taken from Treta Yuga to now Dwapar Yuga, where he's still committing offenses. He's still offensive to the Lord himself. So he's lost his bhakti for a long, long time. So Prabhupada says Krishna consciousness is perfect and eternal, and therefore it cannot be lost under any circumstances. Because the material world is full of obstruction to advancement in Krishna consciousness, there may appear to be many impediments. Yet Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, declares in Bhagavad Gita 9:31, Kaunteya pratijanahi name bhaktya pranashyati. He says, one has taken shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord, he cannot be lost. Unless the Lord wishes so, or the devotee commits an offense at the lotus feet of a Vaishnava. So generally we have it pretty easy once we come to the realization, self-realization. We just have to stay out of course, if the Lord wants it, that's our service. That's his prerogative. But all we have to do is stay out of committing Vaishnava Prad. Prabhupada says, he says, by the order of the Lord, a perfect devotee sometimes comes to this material world like an ordinary human being. Because of its previous practice, such a perfect devotee naturally becomes attached to devotional service, apparently without cause. Despite all kinds of impediments due to surrounding circumstances, he automatically perseveres in devotional service and gradually advances until he once again becomes perfect. So, in the purport to the verse about Kontek Patijana Hi 9:31. Prabhupada says, generally a devotee who is engaged in the 9 kinds of devotional activities is engaged in the process of cleansing all material contamination from the heart. He puts the Supreme Personality of Godhead within his heart, and all sinful contaminations are naturally washed away. Continuous thinking of the Supreme Lord makes him pure by nature. According to the Vedas, there is certain regulation that if one falls down from his exalted position, he has to undergo certain ritualistic processes to purify himself. Those are very intense. Vedas has purification processes that are huge. They are very ascetic. They're like big austerities. But here, Prabhupada says, there is no such condition. Because the purifying process is already there in the heart of the devotee due to his remembering the Supreme Personality of Godhead constantly. So Prabhupada saying here means in his movement, with his devotees, with his process. He says, therefore the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare should be continued without stoppage. This will protect a devotee from all accidental fall downs. He will thus remain perpetually free from all material contamination. So, in the examples that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives of for the Vaishnava Avtarat, he quotes a couple other examples like King Raghugan and Duyuda. And if you remember, King Raghugan was going down and his palki was being carried by Jada Bharat, who was a very self-realized person. He was Maharaj. And he was carrying the palki, and because there were ants on the road, he was jumping around. And King Raghugan was being jostled in his palki. So he got upset. He spoke a lot of abusive words. And Jada Bharat, who was a great devotee, he apologized, but also explained where he's at. And then Raghugan realized by the speaking of Jada Bharat that he was a very realized soul. So he immediately asked for forgiveness. Because he committed offense by mistake, and he very quickly realized, he asked for forgiveness. And Jada Bhagat immediately forgave him. But in the case of Dvivida, we really don't know at least I couldn't find the details of why he was offensive to Lakshman. But we're told by the acharyas that he did not apologize. He was not repentant. And we see that now. Even now, he is vindictive. Because of his first offense, he was put in the association of a demon like Narkasura. Okay. And by being in the association of a demon, he became demonic. That's what happens with dissociation. And because his offense was so great, he commits another offense. Because Narkasur was killed by Lord Krishna, and instead of accepting that as the Lord's action, he became offensive to the Lord. So now he's committing offenses to the Lord. So his offenses keep going on, and he doesn't get where he needs to go, back to his devotion. So, but what happens when we are really in the devotion? When we are self-realized, when we are in full bhakti. So what happens to the devotee? Or what is the perfect state? In a class, Shivram Swami Maharaj was talking about a pastime where Radharani was in a lot of separation because she hadn't seen Krishna. And she was in a lot of anxiety, distraught. So her Sakhis, the gopis, advised her to write a letter to Krishna. And so Radharani decides that might be the best way to deal with this separation. So, as when we write a letter, we say, dear so-and-so. She was starting to write with Krishna. But as soon as she writes the first letter, Kri, she becomes unconscious. She became unconscious. Because her bhakti, her love is so intense. She went into ecstasy just by those first words or first letter of his name. And her Sakhis, who were also so in tune with, who also had a lot of bhakti for Krishna, but who was also so in tune with Radharani's feelings, also fainted. So Maharaj was saying that just by taking the first letter of the pure name of the Lord, this purest of devotees was going into ecstasy. And he says, we can be realized just by chanting the pure name of the Lord. It's so we can attain the highest state by the chanting of the holy name. That's what Prabhupada was talking about earlier as well. And another pastime that Maharaj talked about was when Lord Chaitanya was dancing in the Rath Yatra. See, those of you who just came in, we got another 15 minutes, so we'll be. So when Lord Chaitanya was dancing in the Rath Yatra, he was in so much ecstasy that there's a pastime where he is wanting to chant the name of Jagannath. And all he did was ja 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 ga 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 ja, ja. So very similar kind of an ecstasy that Radharani displayed, just by the name or the letter of the name. Got him in that. He so realized. Of course, we can't copy this. We just have to keep working on Prabhupada's process and get where we need to go. And so in Bhakti Sandarbha of Jiva Goswami actually tells us what happens when we commit offense. What is the result on us of the offense? He's talking of all offenses, not just the Vaishnava Aparad, but Vaishnava Aparad is one of the biggest ones. And he says, like committing the Vaishnava Aparad and not chanting attentively. He says we get into what is called kautilya, crookedness. Makes us insincere. We may make a show of devotion. We may externally perform worship, but we're not pure. Our intentions are not pure. And there's a lot of pretense. So when we get into the offenses, this is something that is very, very observable when you are in the movement. When we are in the movement and we see this. We see some devotees who may be quite offensive on a regular basis. On the other hand, those who are not offensive show a totally sincere behavior. They develop a faithlessness, a shraddha. It leads into a lack of conviction, lack of faith in the glories of the bhakti, of devotional service. And even after hearing about and witnessing the evidence of the Lord and his devotion, the offensive person, he maintains a contrary kind of a mindset. The example that Jiva Goswami quotes is Duryodhana's example. He remains faithless in spite of being witness to the Lord's universal form. When the Lord was coming to visit them, when he was going to be the messenger, Duryodhana made a lot of great plans, beautiful place for him to stay, beautiful prashadam, the whole works. But he didn't have a sincere desire to please the Lord. He had a desire to bribe the Lord. He thought he could be very nice to the Lord. The Lord would be on his side with his army and the whole works. And we saw what he did when he had that offer. Instead of taking the Lord, he took the Lord's army. So that is the faithless. And Arjun had the faith in the Lord. All he wanted was, Lord, I just want you on my side. So that's the faith that Arjun had. And the third thing that we get as a result of the offenses is absorption in material objects. We find all kinds of excuses to get absorbed in and the people, like the devotees, a lot of times we start seeing that they get so much into, well, they go through the whole process. They've given up everything, they've surrendered, they've become part of the Hare Krishna movement and been chanting nicely and all. And then due to offenses, they start suddenly go into this thing, oh, well, I got to take care of this, I got to make money, I got to do this. And they get so absorbed in that you don't even see them anywhere near the temples. And that could be from those. And then the fourth, that is the slackness in devotion. They become just slow down in their practice. Stop chanting. Stop serving. And the last one that is talked about is, that Jiva Goswami writes about, is the pride in devotional service. Pride in devotional service. The devotees who commit offenses start having pride in their devotional service. They think they are the best cooks, they're the best server. They chant the best, their chanting is the best. They dress the best. All kinds of things. So they get a pride in their devotional service. And this results in essentially hardening of the heart. And with all of these 5 offenses, 5 results, so hardening of the heart. And because of this hardening of the heart, bhakti doesn't enter it. And the way around it is, of course, sincere request for forgiveness, repentance, and constant chanting with humility. And so, and the sooner the better. If we instantly ask for forgiveness, we won't get into that, we could ask, but if they don't forgive, that's different. But devotees, the Vaishnavas, are so compassionate that they do forgive. So, as soon as there are offenses sometimes that we don't know, we don't realize. But we should try to be very cognizant of our behavior, our steps, anything we do. And as soon as we realize we've committed an offense, we should not be full of pride. And, pride is what keeps us from ego, keeps us away from asking for forgiveness. But if we just humbly, sincerely ask for forgiveness, then this can be reverted. We could please Krishna, and by pleasing Krishna, we could please Bhakti Devi. So, and we can only do that by genuine humility. So, we need to just get on with it, continue our practice of devotional service, and stay away from offenses, in particular Vaishnava Prad, because that is the worst one for continuing on our path of bhakti. Thank you very much. I think we are ready for in Ram, in to Lakshman as a monkey. But it doesn't say what he did. Yeah, I did the same. I looked also. I couldn't find that. So we don't know what the offense was and how. But it's enough to know that when Lord Lakshman is offended. Yeah, it was. Well, she just told me as I was going into the class. I did have a lot of material. Thank you. Yeah, always. Well, that's because they're watching his tests and follow-ups. He's not critical, but it's critical to monitor him because he's not. His anemia is pretty intense, and it's not good. So that's what they're doing tests and all. So, yeah.
Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. Enam Kanvandam Aravindanalaya Taktam Bharavatam Samasitam Buddhasundarangam Kandar Bhagom Vidamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. Andani Yasa Sakale Priya Priya